Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to my hobby home. My name is Cathy. Thank you so much for joining me today. We will be doing or trying the Shabby Fabrics March foundation paper piecing. This is what I'll be working on or trying. So we're just going to get into it, and I'm going to tell you what the requirements are to work this. Required, we need 14 by 14 batting, a 14 by 14 backing, 8 by 8 heat and bond light fusible web. I have this. It's a heat and bond light sewable. It's an iron-on adhesive. This is great for lightweight fabrics, machine appliques, and quilting. So I'm guessing that will be fine. And it says add a quarter ruler. Okay. So what I have here is I have a glue stick. This is a Roxanne glue stick. I also have another glue stick down here. I have the Sewline fabric glue pen. I'm hoping this one will work because I've already used it once. And I'd like to go in and use it before I open another one. I will be putting a Bernina Microtex 7010 needle in my machine for this. I will also change my stitch length to 1.5. I think it's set at a 2.5 right now. I have a pair of scissors to cut paper with. Do not use sewing scissors on paper. I have my add a quarter rulers. I have both. I have the short and the long one. I have my Fiskars rotary cutter. I think I got another rotary cutter in a box over here. I think it was in a subscription box. And just for safe measure, I have my 2.5 by 18 inch ruler here. I don't think I need it, but I have it just in case I do. I have, see if I can get this off the table. I have a rotating cutting board. This is my 7 or 8 inch rotating cutting board. Just in case I need it. I don't know that I'll need it. I do have my this little thing here, my Mighty Steam. I have it on. I have it heating up. And I have already cut out my fabrics, but let me show you what we have here. We have our 2 pattern cuts, and I have all of my fabrics cut out here, and I have my backing. Now, this piece right here, I will need to put the fusible web on. I will, when I get to that point, I will bring you along and we'll do it together. This is going to be a little bit different than a sewing video because I will sew over here, but you may not see it because I'd have to be moving my camera back and forth. And I don't want to do that. So mainly what I will be doing is showing it to you on the table. I know you can't see it on the table right now, but I am going to show you this here. First thing we're going to do is start cutting our paper, and the instructions say do not cut on that outer line. I'm going to show you that. You see that outer line? I'm not cutting on that outer line. I'm cutting away from that outer line because we will need that. And I think this is just to get this more manageable. So what we do is we cut our pieces, and Shabby Fabrics does provide you with 2 sets. One set is for practice. I'm not even going to practice. I'm just getting in there and doing it, and have no regrets. Even if I mess up, I won't have any regrets. So our second one, okay, because you'll see this is our A. This is our A block here. It's got all of our A's there. Then we have B, C, D, and E. You'll see that there, B, C, D, and E. So I am going to just start cutting away at the end. And I will turn you guys down on my table when I start doing my sewing, so I can show you exactly what I'm doing. And we're going to learn how to do this together, because I have never done fabric paper piecing or foundation paper piecing. It actually intimidates me pretty good. But I will say, I have watched a lot of videos, and I feel confident that I can do this. I'm hoping I can do this. So, if not, at least I tried. You know, I can say I tried. I've got those two done. Now, let's see. Get our last two cut out here. And I'm going to try to not do a lot of editing for this, so you guys can see exactly what goes on. Now, like for this cutting, yeah, I may do that. Okay. So, our first thing that we are going to do, we are going to start with block A. Now, first I'm going to tell you, on my machine, I have my Dove Gray Aurifil. Let me change I'm changing the width of my stitch, which I'm carrying it to a 1.5. I do need to thread my machine because I did put that 70-10 needle on there. Now, I am going to tell you, I was given some pointers on how to do this. Shabby Fabrics, they do use a light pad. I have a light pad, but I'm going to do this without a light pad. I was told that since I sew, I have one of these. I think it's in my sewing machine, in my sewing kit somewhere, but I'm not real sure. Like a marking wheel. I don't know if y'all know what that is. It's like, you use it on tracing paper when you do clothing patterns. You just run it over there. It will serrate your paper so you know exactly where the line is at. I'm going to see if I can find mine so I can do that. So stay with me just one moment. Okay, so I do have my tool here. And let me turn you down on the table. Okay, here we have you down on the table. I'm trying to get my area kind of where it's usable right now. We are going to take these three out of the way. And we will separate just our A. These are all A's, so I am going to start by taking all of my A pieces out of my stack. And we are going to start with this. Now, what I am going to do is just trace over all the lines with my little wheel, because we're going to work from the back. And you'll see that here in a second. So I want to make sure I'm straight on the line. And this will also help when it comes to taking the foundation paper off. Now you can do this without doing this step. And I'm going really slow, so just so you know. And I don't know if you can see that, but it does leave little perforations in the paper. Because the main thing, though, is you're going to be sewing. You're sewing on this side, but you're putting your fabric on this side. This was a little trick that Miss Dee Dee with Stitched in Faith showed me. She gives me little tips and tricks. what I'm going to show you is we are going to take our A1, and there's our block. This is our A1, and we are to place our A1 face side down on, I can see my little perforation there. I am going to use my glue stick to glue down this fabric right here, because this is the only piece that you really need to glue, but you don't want this piece to move at all. So, I'm looking at I have a kitty cat in here, so if y'all hear her, I'm sorry. I think she wants outside, so one moment and I'm going to carry her outside. Okay, so we see we have our A1 there. So our next piece is A2. What we have to do is trim next. Pull out. Now I am going to show you how Jen with Shabby Fabrics does it, because she seems to have had the simplest and easiest way to do this. Is we want to trim the fabric right here. So what we do is lay this hard edge on there, and we're going to fold up on that A2. Now that also helps if you've already used your little marking tool and it goes on the line. So we have this here. So what we are going to do is take our, add a quarter, and she shows how there is a ridge on this, and she shows how to run that along that line there, and we are going to cut it right there. We're going to add that quarter, and then we open it up. Okay, our next step is we're going to be doing some sewing here now, and she uses an acronym TSP, Trim, Sew, Press. So we're going to turn this over. We know this is our A2. We can see our line on here that we did. You put same sides together, and I believe she uses the same edge right here and sews that together, so when you flip it, you have your 1/4 inch there. Okay, so what I need to do is, I do know that when I flip this, it will cover the whole thing. So what I need to do is pin this on here. So we are going to flip this. I'm making sure that didn't stay together good. I am not as good at this as she is, I'm sure. So what I'm going to do is pin the back and flip it over, because I know I'm going to be sewing on between the, I'm going to turn it where you can see it here. I'm going to be sewing between the line between A1 and A2. She says to stitch about 3 stitches over on each side. So let me get this on my machine real quick, and I will sew that and bring you right back. Okay, so now I have this sewn on here, the A1 and A2. So now our next step is to press. I know you can't see over here on my my board, but what I will do is fold this over and I will press it. Okay, so now our next step is trim. So let's find our A3, and we are going to use our cardboard again. Now, if we have a stitch, we can just use our fingernail to break the paper loose there. I'm going to use my add a quarter. I'm going to, whoa, no, I'm not yet. I gotta have this. Oh, y'all, I just about messed up there. I need my longer ruler to do this. I am going to continue to use the shorter paper thing there, but I will use the longer ruler. Okay. So we are going to cut this away. And we're getting ready for our A3. So that's trim. And we're going to sew. Once again, we are going to line up. And we're going to make sure this is our A3 right here. I know you probably cannot, but I can see my little line right there. So I'm going to line it up on this corner down here. And once again, I'm pinning from the bottom. And then I'm flipping over. And then I will pin it from the top. I'm not a very good flipper and everything's staying in place. So I just feel safer going ahead and pinning this way. So now I'm going to sew on the A3 line. Okay, we have that A3 sewn. So now we're going to press and see how this looks. Now, y'all, I will tell y'all, I don't know why I was so intimidated by this, but I was very intimidated by this. So next is our A4. I can see my line here. So we are going to trim. The next thing we do is trim. So I need to turn it this direction. I'm forgetting how to do it already. Now, we have these 3 stitches over. So, but remember, we already used our little marking tool. And that helps bend that over. But we are going to make sure to bend this real well. We will take our add a quarter and run that on there real good. And then we will trim everything there. I hope I'm doing this right, y'all. We will know. Come the end, we will know. So our next thing is to add our A4. I can see the lines, so I'm going to continue to line up on this end here. And I'm pinning on the back and poking myself. Then I'm going to turn it over and pin on the front so I can sew on the front. This is technically the back, but it's the front of our paper. So I am going to sew, and I'll bring you right back. So now we have our first layer of our pieces. Okay, and now we go to our next one, which is A6. So if you can't remember looking on here which one you're on, look at your next color here. So we have A6, which is this right here. And y'all, I may have to come back a little later with you guys and finish this out, because I think my daughter might have just drove up, bringing my little grandbaby. I have not seen him in over a week, because he's had strep and I've had the crud, and we've all just tried not to pass on what we had to each other. But I'm going to keep doing this, because it may be her, it may not be her. I don't know. But I am folding over there, making sure, and I've got to pull my fabrics up on my board there so I can trim them. And when I'm adding my quarter, I'm making sure I'm next to that paper, because that seam right there just tried to catch my edge. Okay. So now we are taking our A6, since I can see where it's at on the back here. I know where I have to lay it. Because my line runs right here. So I'm going to make sure to be enough on both ends to have a 1/4 of an inch when it's folded over. So I am pinning on the back. And I will flip. Make sure it's all flat there. And this is for the A6. I have this section pinned on the front. I will now sew it. Notice it's flat there. I will turn it over and sew on the A6 line. I now have all of block A done, so I will go ahead and start piecing my B. Well, the rest of them, they're not all B and C. We've got an E, a B, a C, and a D. So let's see how we're going to use this. Now this does say trim each section to outside lines. And I will trim everything to the outside lines. Okay, I'm going to move these to make sure I don't trim them in the process of this. I'm just putting that straight edge on that line. Just trimming it all down to that outer edge. And I'm putting all my scraps over here. Y'all probably noticed that. I have a garbage can right here below me, but it's just easier to put them all in one spot. And once I'm done, just scrape, just scrape them all down to the garbage can. I can see me doing several of these now in my near future, because I really like this. It is definitely like putting a puzzle together, and I like doing puzzles. Okay, so we have our piece 1 trim down to that outer edge. This is my B. So our B1, we are going to lay our B1 over our B1, and we're going to take our glue, and I can tell my B1, make sure that is, nope, that's B2. B1 is right here. So I am just putting my B1 right there. I'm going to just put a little glue to hold that in place. Just to make it easy, I'm just going to cover the whole piece up. And that's that front side down. So we are going to turn over. Now I also used my little tool here. Notice how that's serrated. See if you can see that. It helps put a serrated line there. So we use our hard edge here, put it next to that line, and the paper only. Make sure we can fold this paper up. And you just crease that lightly with your fingernail. Because when you put this on that, you're going to rub it down anyway. It gives it a crisper edge. So now what we do is flip this over. We're going to put our B2 right there. Okay. And y'all, I love how they have these stickers on here. This is just amazing. So our B2, I'm going to turn it so I can see here exactly where I'm going to even that up, pin it up. I will flip it over, and then I will pin it on the top side of the printed paper, on the printed side of the paper, and I'll remove those pins. So see this, we're going to pin it right here on the top. This is just like the other piece. But I'm just showing you again, just in case you didn't catch it the first time we did this, because I will assure you I had to watch videos multiple times while trying to figure this out. Let's see, we have it there, we're flat. I am going to stitch on, see if, make sure I can have it where you can see it. I'm going to stitch on this line right here. If I could quit poking my finger with those pins, stitch on that line right there. I will go about 3 stitches before and 3 stitches after, and I'll be right back. Okay, so now I have all 4 of my outer pieces in my center piece. So now I am going to see how I put these together. It says sew section A to section B. So this is section A. That's E. So this is B. So this is section A. This is section B. Section B is going to go on this side. Now we're going to sew it all to the top. So I am going to pin this on here and sew this together. And, well, let me go ahead and pin it. And I'm just going to say hope for the best, because I'm not exactly sure how to do this, but we are going to stitch on this line right here, the inner line, and we'll see what happens. Okay, now we are going to press the D, or press towards the D. So this is our main square here. The next thing is to applique. So this is our white 3, and it says right side, wrong side up, so right side down. And we need an 8x8 heat and bond light fusible web. Okay. I will cut my iron down so it will cool off just a little bit, but we are to put this fabric, this is heat and bond light. I'm going to lay this on top of the fabric and press it down. Okay, so I have put the heat and bond on the back of this fabric. So what we are going to do now is choose the items on here that we want to be in the center right here. Oh, you can't see that, huh? Yeah, this will be the center. So what I'll do is, we know we want a hat. We know we want a big shamrock. So what we do when we are trimming this, we just trim where we want, what we want this to look like. So you want to be very careful, and I know you probably cannot see what I'm doing. I'll try to do it where you can, but, and I do not normally suggest to do what I just did, you know, cutting sideways there. Always try to keep your scissors going straight ahead of you, just because it's easier to cut that way. Turn your fabric. And Jen even suggested that on her video, her tutorial of doing this. And I will reiterate, this is not a tutorial. This is a, hey guys, come along with me and let's see how bad I can screw this up or not. I actually think it's turning out pretty fabulous. You know, maybe you're new to foundation paper piecing. I will say, do not be afraid of it. I don't know why I was so afraid of this for so long. It intimidated me so bad. But now that I've done this, oh my, y'all, it's fabulous. I mean, this opens up a whole new world of quilting to me now. So I'm excited to be learning how to do this. And I will say there was a lady at the retreat. I'm hoping I can remember her name correctly. Julia, I think was her name. I could be incorrect, but she was doing English paper piecing. Now, I'm not going to say that's something I will ever attempt. It did look beautiful, but I don't know. If they're not all as small as the one she was doing, I may try it. But man, she was doing some itsy bitsy tiny pieces, and I'm just like, nope, not for me. So I have our hat. Okay, do I want a big shamrock or a little one? And see, I like these two. I want this one for sure on there. So let's see if we can get this one to cut out. But anyway, if you are new to foundation paper piecing or have not done it and just afraid that it will overwhelm you or something, This is one of the easiest things I think I've ever done, because you get a grid to lay your fabric on, and all you have to do is sew on the line. Now, I mean, I know I am challenged with staying on the line. I actually had to cut my, what is that thing called? It's a little red light. It's a pinpoint light that is on my machine, that I actually cut it on to mark where my needle was going. And that's really great for embroidery, but for people like me, you know, I can't stay on the line sewing for nothing. So, I used it. Yes, I did. I'm actually wondering if I use this really big shamrock, if I need to do any other shamrocks. I like that one too. See, I like this one and this one. I like the little ones too, but I don't really want to cut a little one out. I'm not quite sure how this is going to go. Maybe like that. Maybe I'll do that one and do it across the bottom, kind of. Let me just look at that and see. Oh, that's a big one when you look at it that way. I actually think that's all I need. I don't need anything else. Okay, so what it tells me to do is to, once I know where I want it, since I want this one on the bottom, I am to remove the backing. And place it where I want it. And then I'm to press it. It says using no lateral motions. So what I will do is I will press it down, and then I am to use a stitch to stitch it down however I would like to. Okay, so I'm going to press this on, and we'll see what it looks like. Okay, so this is my completed top. I will bring you guys back once I start quilting it, or once it is done. So y'all stay with me, and we will get this done short. I will get this done and bring you back. We are back. It is the next day, but my daughter came by with my grandbaby, and I hadn't seen him in over a week and a half, so I had to see that little turkey. But I did go on and complete the foundation paper piecing. And before I show it to you, I do want to say, please do not ever be afraid to try something new. I realized I was too afraid of foundation paper piecing that I kept putting it to the back. And then when I saw this pattern for March from Shabby Fabrics, I was like, I love that, but it's foundation paper piecing. So I went out on a quest to do research. And in my research that I saw, I watched a lot of videos on it. And I thought, okay, surely I can do this. Well, guys, I did it. Do not ever be afraid to try something new, because this is the result of the March. Let me hold it still. Now, I am not going to say that my binding on the back looks real good, because it does not, because you do a 2.5 inch strip. I think it was 2.5 inch strip for the binding, and I probably should have left, but I don't know. It's wide enough. And see, that right there is something that I'm not real crazy about right here. I don't like how you can see that, but it's going on my fireplace, so you won't be able to see that when I put it up on my fireplace. But I wanted to do a decorative stitch, and I will show it to you. You will see. I don't like that there where you can see all of that. But I used the metallic green, and I stitched right on that edge there. I did like a 1/8 inch stitch. Well, let me turn it around. And when you do a 1/8 inch stitch, it doesn't catch anything on the back, really. I mean, because, and you know, you have your little sleeve here, but let me pull it up so you can see. See how I have that big piece right there? I know they probably intended for me to hand stitch this. I'm not hand stitching binding. I'm not going to do that. Not when my machine does it just as pretty. And see how beautiful that fabric is on the back? But guys, I did do the metallic green. Let me come over here. Details on like all the blocks. I did a little stitch of the metallic green. And this is the Shabby Fabrics March 2024 Foundation Paper Piecing Series. This is the last in their series, but you can still get the kits. I believe they said they were still matching colors to the other patterns, maybe if they had ran out of the color. But if you really want the color that went with that pattern, you need to go on and order it if it's still available. So guys, if you like this video, give me a thumbs up. I will say this before I continue. I know I said I was not going to edit. I had over 3 hours of video for this, and I just decided, yeah, I have to edit because I know you don't want to see all of that. But if you have not yet subscribed, please do. I have a lot more new projects coming. Feel free to leave a comment. I do respond to each and every comment personally. And as always, until I see you again, have a very blessed day. Goodbye.